Red Bull has a really big choice to make before the 2025 racing season starts because they've seen that Perez's driving won't help them win the team championship in 2025. And there are lots of good drivers that the Austrian team will have to pick from now that Sainz and Bottas are available. Red Bull has a special chance to build a really strong team in the new rule changes, one that they will need to count on a lot if they want to beat McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari starting in 2025. But Perez brings a huge amount of money to the table thanks to Carlos Slim, and Red Bull lost around $20 million by dropping from first place to third place in the team championship. Will this affect what the Austrian team decides? And if so, how can they choose who will replace Sergio? One of the best choices that Red Bull has is Liam Lawson, and the fact that the New Zealand driver got points in 2 of the 3 races he drove in 2024 as Ricciardo's replacement shows that he definitely has talent, and Horner has noticed it too. In one of his recent comments, he put Lawson above Tsunoda when talking about good driving that will be looked at after the season ends. But with Sainz having a contract deal with Williams that reportedly lets him pick another team if a seat opens up starting in 2025, and with Bottas now being free to join any team, will Lawson make the most sense for Red Bull? After all, he is still very young, and what the team wants to do here is avoid another Gasly or Nick situation where they put so much hope after seeing what they can do. The difference is that Nick's situation was based on just one race only for these drivers to fail when the real challenge was put in front of them. When talking about Lawson's chances to join Red Bull, Horner has said Lawson did a super job again today, and Tsunoda as well, but Liam particularly considering his experience. Franco is another talent, so of course you're always keeping an eye on the market of how things are developing. There's one huge problem when it comes to Lawson: he doesn't bring a lot of money to the table. For those of you who think that this doesn't matter, just look at how Perez is able to keep his seat in a car that's in the top 3 of the grid while being 8th in the Drivers' Championship and hasn't won a race in 2024 thanks to the money support he has from Carlos Slim. This is what puts Sainz in a great position as well, because we've seen that Santander, one of the biggest banks in the world, has taken away their money support from Ferrari once they found out that Sainz won't drive for them anymore. Carlos Slim himself said that if Perez is no longer part of Red Bull, he will likely take away the money from his companies in Red Bull, which, along with the huge influence that Perez has in Latin America and the merchandise sales that Marco has said will be important, will be a huge thing to think about in the meeting after the 2024 season. Whether or not Red Bull would choose raw talent over money, time will tell. But if they want to continue with the support of Latin America, something they see as very important for the growth of their team, they might as well team up with Calapin. The Argentinian driver has shown how much value he can bring in terms of merchandise and support from that part of the world, and on top of that he is quite good at racing. He's put Albon on the edge of his seat as he scored 5 points so far, replacing Sargent, which could be really important in the fight in the team championship. There is of course the big question about how fast Franco can qualify, because right now he's proving that he is a great talent when it comes to race speed, but if he starts further back on the grid like Perez, and if he finds himself having trouble getting past cars ahead of him, then he'll just be an Argentinian version of Sergio and Red Bull. Wouldn't be smart to continue down this road because they'll prove that the sport is all about money. Still, Christian Horner has handled all of this very carefully, and while praising Perez for how he's driven so far and putting the blame on the car, he's now said that there's only so much the Austrian team can do to help him find his groove, which shows that they're looking for his replacement. Perez himself is confident that we will see him race in a Red Bull suit in 2025, as well as he'll be the one to decide when to retire and not the team. But judging by Horner's words, it does look like Red Bull could be done with the services of the 34-year-old. As Christian said, Brazil was a chance to take a big chunk in the team championship from both Ferrari and McLaren. Unfortunately, we've not been able to take advantage of that, so obviously that is frustrating, but we will go away and have a look at it and come back, hopefully fighting hard in Vegas. I haven't sat in the meeting. I haven't heard Perez's comments, but there was nothing obvious to me in the race. I think everything in life is subjective, and you've got to look at the facts. We're working hard with Checo. He has a chassis change. This weekend I thought he drove a good sprint race, but on Sunday it wasn't his day. Yuki Tsunoda is also a serious choice for the Red Bull seat because so far he's been able to do better than 2 teammates, Nick and Ricciardo, and even with this he hasn't been given enough attention by the Austrian team. This could be because he's connected with Honda and hasn't been trained through Red Bull's academy, which means that they would much rather promote from within or hire an experienced driver than to invest in Tsunoda, who will always have a huge question mark around him when it comes to his commitment with a Japanese manufacturer. Now that Honda is joining forces with Aston Martin, there's no doubt that Yuki will be thought of as a good replacement for the aging Alonso or the struggling Stroll, but nevertheless that is something that Red Bull can solve on their own in the next couple of weeks. Horner has spoken highly about Tsunoda and said that he will have a chance to prove himself after the Abu Dhabi finale, in which he will go through some reviews from the entire Red Bull high management about whether his talent is worth the risk, considering that he doesn't have enough technical knowledge and emotions can get the worst out of him many times. Furthermore, Horner said Yuki is obviously a member of the junior team, It's something we've discussed with Honda that he should have a test in one of our cars in Yas Marina after the last race of the season. He'll test the car again at the tires test following the end of the season. It's something that's been agreed for quite some time. It will again be good to give him a run. Give him the chance to work with Red Bull Racing engineers and see how he performs in a Red Bull Racing car again. A very interesting choice has come up in Sainz, especially because we know that there's a contract thing that says he could be leaving Williams if a spot opens up from 2025 onwards in one of the top teams, which Red Bull definitely is. While this would look bad for the growth-based team, we've seen Horner leaving the Williams motorhome in Brazil, as they've likely talked about the services of either Colapinto or Sainz, as both of them are now linked to a seat with Red Bull. But in the latest meeting that Horner gave about Sainz, he was very honest about not trying to get a signature from the Spaniard, and while praising his work, Horner said, "I mean, there's always plenty of rumors in the Formula One paddock, and Carlos Sainz is going to be a Williams driver next year. He's a great driver, had a big win in Mexico recently, and I think he'll be very good for that team. He's committed to Williams and he wouldn't be part of our plans for next year." The latest development of things has put Bottas in the picture as well, because if you think about it, this is the driver who's the perfect second choice for the Austrian team. The Finnish driver is already getting close to the end of his career, and being the ultimate helper for Verstappen and scoring the most points possible is what the team will desperately need from him. However, he's now also connected with his old family in Mercedes, where he would serve the job as the backup driver and help them in returning to their good old glory days. Yes, there's something called honor, and maybe Bottas couldn't deal with the fact that he'll be driving for the team that caused so much pain to his closest friend and teammate in 2021 in Abu Dhabi. But in this sport, everything's business and everything is forgettable. Just look at what Hamilton did with Ferrari and you wouldn't have to think about it any longer. When it comes to Bottas's situation, the 10-time race winner has said that he will obviously push towards being a Formula One starting driver, not a backup, but he understands the reasons why he's been replaced, and that is what makes him so unpredictable in the following period. With all of this in mind, who do you think will be the best driver to replace Perez? And more importantly, do you think that there's a situation in which Sergio will lose his seat from 2025 onwards? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in the latest development regarding Bottas's departure from Sauber and all of his options in Formula One, make sure to click on the video. It's appearing on your screen right now.